I was working with a client recently, and we were doing an activity where she had to reach with her left arm. But as she was reaching with her left arm, her whole body was going forward. And that's not what we want. Now, a lot of people are aware, if you've been watching videos about PRI, if you've watched videos on my channel, or if you've seen other exercises, PRI techniques, anywhere else, you'll see reaching is talked about. Reaching is done for two reasons. Actually, no, it's probably really done for one reason. It's to rotate the spine and rotate the rib cage to get you going from side to side. Arms have to swing, so with reaching, it's really swing, arm swing. Arms have to swing to properly drive our weight from side to side, because side to side shifting, frontal plane, is what walking mostly is, with some transverse rotation also. So that side to side movement is really, really important, and we tend to lose that side to side movement because we're over lateralized to the right. We're in that left AIC, right BC pattern. You can look it all up. You can look it all up. I've been sick for 2 weeks, so I'm still not feeling great, so if I misspeak, forgive me. Okay, and if I start coughing, I'm just gonna keep going because I don't feel like re-editing this video constantly. At any rate, what was I saying? Oh, arm swing. So she was reaching with her left hand, and she was going forward with her body at the same time. But what you really want is you want the arm to go forward, but the rib cage to go back. Or maybe not even, well, there was a moment of moving back. It's not like it's gonna go like back as you do it, but as the left arm swings forward, the posterior rib cage on the left has to stay back. The moment you do this, if your torso goes forward with your left arm, you arch your back, and now you're back into the pattern. So arms have to reach forward, like arm swing, without the rib cage falling forward with it. So the ribs have to stay back. The rib cage has to stay back, and you don't want to engage, I just hit the microphone, you don't want to engage your pecs either. We want to use the serratus. The serratus muscle will stabilize the rib cage, scapula, and arm relationship so that your scapula can stay stable as the arms move forward and you don't fall forward also. But that's also going to require good abdominals. So a lot of times in the beginning, you're trying to get ribs to go down, back down, and in, but that's going to happen through reaching and exhalation. That's because you're living in this extended spine. The ribs in the front have to be brought down by abs through exhalation, and then the arms have to move forward with those serratus anterior muscles to get everything working properly. Now, this can all get interrupted very easily if you do not sense the ground. And that's why I'm very big on getting people in the proper shoes. And again, when I say proper shoes, I mean for right now, because if they had the proper shoes, they might not be in pain. Can't say that for certain, but the fact that they are in pain means they're not sensing the ground very well, and their frontal plane is not being integrated very well. And to integrate your frontal plane, you need sense of the ground. At any rate, I'm gonna show you just two pictures. This is me over the summertime. You'll see one picture, my back, even though I'm touching my toes or attempting to, you'll see one picture, my back is pretty much uniform. The other picture, one side is higher. That left side is higher than the right side. Now, what was that? Well, the picture where it's uniform, where both sides are the same height, that is a body or a brain that is sensing the ground. The other picture where the left side is higher, that is a body or a brain that is no longer sensing the ground. But what was that coming from? And this is where things can get confusing for people, and I understand it. That was coming from the fact that when my back was uniform, when both sides were the same height, that was with one eye closed. That was with my right eye closed. I was removing my overly dominant, overly used right eye from the equation, and my back was good. The moment I had two eyes open, and I bend over, and now the left side is higher, that was my hip flexors kicking in to pull my pelvis forward into that left AIC pattern again. And over time, that wasn't the right BC pattern mostly. That was the left AIC pattern. The hip flexors pulling the pelvis forward. What that's going to do is it's going to extend my back over time. So this posterior rib cage, the part that needs to move back or stay back as the left hand swings forward over time, because of that pattern, those ribs are going to tighten, you're going to stay extended, and now as that left arm swings forward, the whole body's going to go. So you've lost that scapula. If I say shoulder, let's just say scapula, or if I say arm, I'm just going to say scapula. That scapula relationship to the rib cage is being thrown off, and now you can't swing your arms properly. You're going to stay in that extended position. You're going to lose your frontal plane over time. It's going to weaken because if you're extended, you can't shift from side to side except through compensation. Your rotation is going to be thrown off because you're not going to be able to rotate your spine through T8 area. You're going to be rotating probably through your lower spine and your SI joints. And that is all because I could not sense the ground properly. And it wasn't a foot issue. It is a foot issue, but it wasn't a foot issue. Remember, it was from my visual system. Now, for a lot of people, that lack of sensing the ground, it's usually not overly sensory in terms of teeth and eyes. They just might need better shoes. They might need to override just this left AIC, right BC pattern that they're just using too much. They've just become too right dominant. And when that happens, if you're too right dominant, you lose sense of the floor on the left. And that picture was the pictures of me was a body that had lost sense of the ground on the left. And as a result, and again, that picture is why I went to Nebraska to get my vision. I knew it was a visual issue, and that was the original issue to begin with. That meant that my left foot could not wobble or ankle. Now this is a right foot, but so when I went out there, and Ron said, I used the ground on the left to not allow me to move. That's basically fear. Because I couldn't sense the ground on the left, let's just say this is a left foot, my left ankle and foot tighten. They tighten because my brain doesn't want to let go of whatever ground I sense on that side. Whatever ground I have left on the side, on the left, my brain does not want to let go of it. So the ankle is tight, the foot's tight. That is a wobble, that is a foot that cannot go through its 6 axes of motion. That's a rigid foot, that's a supinated foot. That's a foot that's just tight and the ankle is not going to move well. At that point, nothing else is going to work either. So for most people to get their left ankle to wobble again, they just need to start integrating the frontal plane and using the left side of their body more. So now their brain senses the left side, they can relax, and now this foot and ankle can wobble again. They're not going to use the ankle to hold them up or to hold onto the floor to prevent them from falling. How does that go back to arm swing? Well, if this foot does not wobble, that is a threat. And now everything else has to tighten up as a protective mechanism. And that left AIC pattern where the pelvis falls forward and the back is going to arch on that left side, that could be seen as a protective mechanism to not get hurt. And that's what you're seeing in those pictures. You're seeing a brain that created the issue and now is freaking out about the issue, that is not sensing the ground on the left because I had 2 eyes open, and when I had 2 eyes open, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? When I had 2 eyes open, my brain would ignore the left eye to some degree or another. And now I don't sense the left peripheral world, I don't sense the left side, and now I tighten up because I go back to that pattern because my brain is fearful of not sensing the left side. And what's going to be tight? Well, that left ankle is going to tighten up. The foot's going to tighten up. And you're using it because you're holding on to the ground. The ground is not separate from us. You know, that's an illusion, the idea that we're separate from the ground. The ground is going to be there from the day you're born to the day you die. It's the one thing that's never going to leave you. It's a partner in your life. And if you don't have that ground, it can be your ruin. So, left arm swing, yes, you do need those ribs to stay back. That woman, my client, she needed to keep those left ribs back as she reached forward with the left hand as she inhaled. But that won't last if she goes upright and she starts walking around again in the wrong shoes, or if she had something else going on. because once she doesn't sense the ground again, she's going to tighten up. She'll go right back into that left AIC pattern. Over time, this rib cage is going to tighten in the back, and now she's going to swing her arm forward instead of the rib cage staying back. She's going to fall forward again. Everything's going to move forward at once, and now you've lost again. You've lost the whole relationship of your pelvis, your rib cage, and swinging arms and necks. And that's how it all works. It all comes together. But if you cannot sense the ground beneath your feet, logically, intellectually, you know it's there, but your brain is blind, it may not sense it. Most people do not have this area that's causing these issues. They just have it's more muscular in that way. It's always sensory, but it's just, they gotta start using the left side of their body more. And for that person, I'm not sure which one it is at this point in time. But for me, in order to use my frontal plane, particularly on the left side, I had to get this fixed first, my eyes, or I had to get glasses that would keep my right eye weaker than my left, so that my brain did no longer decide just to use the right eye. So I know that I started off by talking about the left arm swing and the left rib cage staying back, but all that is dependent upon everything else I just talked about. And that's why when people cannot see that bigger picture, you tend to think you'll do exercises forever and be like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? Why are these exercises not work? It could be something that you're not sensing and you're not even aware of, like it was for me. But I just wanted to show that. I don't even know if that made sense, but hopefully it did, because again, I'm sick and I'm just talking. So have a good day. If you found this video interesting or helpful, could you please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, do anything you can to spread this information, because PRI is really changing people's lives, and I hope to share it with even more people. Thanks.